Good morning and welcome to the video. The title for today's video is You Can Manifest It Today. And yes, you can. You can manifest anything today. That is the theme for today's video. So as you're coming in, please go ahead and like the video. Give it a thumbs up. Let me know that you're here. Say hi. And if you guys have questions about manifesting or about today's topic, feel free to go ahead and drop them into the chat because I'll be answering some of those as we go along. So, do you want to believe that you can have something right now, but it just doesn't seem possible? Are you tired of asking for the same dream to manifest time and time again? And are you starting to feel doubtful because it's been taking so long? Would you like to actually master the skill of instant manifestation so that you can have the things that you want when you actually want them? Well, if that's you, go ahead and pay attention. Get a pen and some paper. Today we're going to talk about how you master the skill of very quick manifesting. Okay, so you can get out of these long delays and waiting for things to materialize because yes, things can always manifest instantly. All right, so before we get into the topic today, I want to come through and say hi to a few of you. Mickey, thank you for the super. And I see you've got a question there. I'll come over and get that one in just a minute, but thank you so much for the super. Appreciate you. I see Luis is here this morning. Good morning. Abundant Queen is here. Sophia is here. Rainbow Traveling Yogi is here. 540 Joy is here. Hello, Natalie is here. Maricel is here. Dominique is here. Apple Castaneda is here. Peace is here. Hello, my lovely assistant Mary is here. Nice to see all of you guys. Good morning, the Olivia Patrick on Instagram. Nice to see you. Yes, as you guys are coming in, go ahead and like the video. And again, if you've got questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat. Again, today we're talking about you can manifest it today, okay? It's possible. Not only is it possible, but you guys are manifesting things instantly that you're not even aware of. But this is something that you can do consciously as well. So, to kick off today's video, let's talk first about what creates waiting. Waiting is never required. Waiting is something that you create by choice. Now, it may not be a conscious choice. It may be a very unconscious choice, but waiting is always a choice because you are the creator of your reality. So you set the terms. You get to decide when things show up, whether they show up now or whether they don't. So if you're having the waiting experience, it's because you are creating the waiting experience. So we have to understand what creates the waiting experience to begin with. There are two things that can cause a delay with manifestation. Really just two. The first one is one that most people are aware of, and it's if you have a block. Okay, so let's say that you want something. I want to be rich, I want to be wealthy, but you believe I'm always going to be poor, or I'm not worthy of having money, or I can't attract money. If you have a belief structure that says you can't have something, well, you're going to experience a delay until you get rid of that block. Okay, so that's one most people are aware of, is that they may have a resistant item, they may have a block or a belief structure that is literally preventing their dream from coming. And so if you're preventing it from coming, chances are you're going to be waiting for a long time. All right, so that's the first one. But the second one is one that some people are not aware of. And it's that you may have a rule that says that you must wait. A rule. So for instance, let's say that you believe it's going to take the job 2 weeks to get back to you to let you know if you got it. So you interviewed and you believe it's going to take 2 weeks for them to get back to you. Well, if you believe that, you're going to have to wait. Let's say that you are wanting to lose weight. That's what you want. But you believe that it's going to take you several months to do that. Well, if that's what you believe, then that's what will happen. Okay? Now, the thing to remember always is that you're dictating the terms. When you put a rule out there, then you somehow have to abide by it. But an interesting thing does happen. The more you believe in a rule, the more you're going to see that everyone seems to have to abide by that rule. So this is where it gets kind of tricky, because sometimes people really do believe that some rules matter, such as the weight loss rule. That really matters, okay? Because everybody seems to be doing it, because that belief structure is really, really tight, that you're seeing it more reflected out in the outer reality. However, if you always trace it back, you will always see that the weighting rule only applies if you believe in it. Okay, so for instance, the weight loss thing isn't hard and fast. So for me, I like to stay lean, okay? It's just something I prefer. I go to the gym a lot. I like to look lean. And so weight loss and working with my weight is something that I play with a lot with the law of attraction, to see if I can kind of manipulate things and get things where I want them. And I see this dynamic play out with waiting versus not waiting for weight loss. So a lot of times people believe that weight loss takes a lot of time. That's what they believe. And when you believe that, what will frequently happen is that when people first get going with weight loss, they may be excited. And because they're excited and optimistic, they may lose a couple pounds pretty quickly. But because they think it's going to take time, what will inevitably happen is they'll have this long period of time where they plateau and nothing seems to happen and the scale doesn't seem to move. And it's almost this radical enigma about why this occurs. Well, it occurs in part, sometimes because of blocks, but a lot of times because the person believes in waiting. Now, if you get yourself to a place where you believe that weight loss is easy, it happens quickly, it's something that you do well, then you can have the experience of dropping very rapidly. And so this is something that I do notice within myself, is that maybe I want to lose a few pounds pretty quickly. If I'm in that mindset of this can be done fast, the weight will drop off very, very quickly. It doesn't seem to take a very long period of time. But if I've been in those mindsets before that this is going to take several weeks, this is going to take a month, this is going to take 3 months, then it drags the process out. You will also see that people who are very good at losing weight, so if I follow a lot of times bodybuilders, okay? I like the bodybuilding community. I'm not a bodybuilder myself, but I like to watch their content. And you'll see that these people, they get very good at dropping weight, to the point where sometimes it drops off so fast that it's faster than they wanted. Why? Because they think weight loss is so easy that it's much quicker for some of them to do it. So just because society may have a rule that something takes time doesn't mean that you have to have that rule. Waiting will follow the rules. So you want to make sure to understand that anything can happen quickly. Getting a job, becoming famous, falling into money, losing weight, getting the boyfriend, all of these things can happen very quickly. And in fact, if you guys look into your past and you think about some of the most remarkable things that you've manifested, what you will notice is when those things came, they often came at an unexpected time. They often came almost as a surprise. And that right there is really good evidence that things can manifest at any time. Because if a lot of things are manifesting almost out of nowhere at surprising times, it means there is no rule of time that applies to them. So please do notice that when things show up, they often show up at times that don't necessarily make logical sense. They show up at any time. And so if things can show up at any time, time doesn't matter. Time doesn't matter. What matters is your energetic state. Are you in a place where you are resistance free? And are you in the mindset right now of anything can happen? If those two things are in place, okay, I'm resistant free and anything could happen, magical things can happen to you at any time, including these things that you've been waiting for. All right, so that's the first thing to really talk about, is what causes the waiting to begin with. It all has to do with your belief structures, which can be changed. All right, but we also need to talk about how do we stop doing that and align with quick manifestation. So we're going to talk about that next. But first, Let me grab this super real quick. Mickey wrote in with a question here. Thanks again, Mickey, for the super. Mickey says, I've always had a sensitivity with swallowing. I'm 58, a fear of choking from a stressful childhood. I have to eat really slow and chew good. It's embarrassing at times. How would you dissolve it? Thank you. Okay, so what's going on here? This does happen. I've seen my husband has this, by the way. So I've observed this too. So a lot of what's going on here is stress and anxiety. And if we look at what's first said here, I've always had a sensitivity with swallowing. Okay. Whenever you guys have physiological issues or injuries or illnesses that are reoccurring, a lot of times this is what we're saying. I've always had this, or I've always struggled with that. And so that's one of the first things, is that when we're saying that, we're writing a rule into existence that this is always the case. So we want to try and flip that. And I want you to notice there have been times where you haven't felt that fear. So, for instance, like, it's not every time that my husband sits down where he has this stressful swallowing thing happens. It happens once in a while. It's not all the time. There are plenty of times that it doesn't happen. But instead of saying I always swallow easily, which is actually more true for him, the focus is more on I always have problems with swallowing. Do you see how that can be problematic? So I want you to notice that there are times where that fear isn't present, where you're not stressed out about it, where maybe something does go down pretty easily, because the more you pay attention to the times that it works and noticing that I swallow pretty easily here and there, more often than not, then that becomes more of the case. Okay, so that's one of the big things. Now, you're right. It can start off in childhood where you had some kind of stressful experience that you've come to identify with. But noticing that it's not always the case, because when we say it's always, then that continues to persist. You also say here, I have to eat really slow and chew good. This is another thing too. If you've got yourself to a point where you have a medical condition that feels almost chronic, what will often happen is you become hypervigilant about it. So you're being very careful, very careful. And so the carefulness is actually putting focus on the problem, which brings the problem about more. Now, I'm not saying to sit there and swallow cubes of ice all willy-nilly. No, but noticing that the more vigilant we are about it, the more we're actually paying attention to the problem. So we want to try to be less careful. This something, by the way, is something I notice when I have had injuries when I work out. When I'm working out and I'm paying attention to being very careful around an injury, it will persist. But if I try to push it a little bit, I try to use the muscle a little bit more, now I'm focused on the idea that I'm healing and it's okay and it gets better quicker. Okay? I hope that's helpful. Guys, if you haven't yet, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe to me. If you enjoy Law of Attraction content, I am on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Also, turn on your notifications so that you are notified whenever I go live. And then in addition to that, if you are new to my work and you have not yet, I do have a free manifesting test that I recommend that you take. So if you want to know for sure that you really are the creator of your reality, and I'm not just talking about hocus pocus here, but this is a real thing, that you really are in charge of your reality, creating everything with your mind, I've designed a very quick and free 5-minute test where you can prove it to yourself. Put something out and watch it come back. And to take that test now, go ahead and go to manifestingtest.com. Again, that's manifestingtest.com. The links will be in the description of this video, and the link will be in the link tree in my bio on Instagram. All right. Oh, we've got another super real quick. Let me grab this real quick. Proofrock, thank you for the super. Proofrock asks, I applied late to grad school and classes start soon. How can I stop obsessing while I wait to hear back? I so want to go. So much resistance. Okay. So this is something we're going to talk about in detail in this live, but the broad strokes for your question, okay? You need to decide it's okay if it takes time. It's okay if it takes time. It's okay if I don't get in. Because if you can make peace with it not happening, you can start to enjoy your present reality and you step back into focusing on yourself rather than focusing on the external world to change. As long as we're obsessing what we're doing, this, by the way, obsessing is a form of waiting. I'm waiting to hear back. I'm waiting to hear back. And so the more we sit there and obsess about it, the more we focus on waiting and push that thing that we want back. So the whole purpose, when I talk to you guys about making peace with it not happening, the reason why that's so important is it gets you to stop waiting. You stop waiting for it to happen and instead, okay, it's fine if it doesn't happen. I have all these other things I can go focus on. So for instance, if I don't go to grad school, maybe I'll have more money in my pocket this year. Maybe I'll have more time to hang out with friends and family. Maybe I can work on some other goal if it doesn't happen this year. And you get your mind into the possibility that even if this doesn't happen, things could be working out very well for me. That's the main thing. Now, a lot of people think when I tell them that, I'm telling them to think that so it doesn't happen. No. I'm telling you to think that because it pulls your resistance off. Once your resistance is off, the thing can show up because like I said, there's only two things that create waiting. One is believing it's going to take time, and two is the block. This is one of the block things, okay? So we want to pull our focus away from it so it can show up. All right. Very good. I see a couple more supers. I'll grab you guys in just a second. Thank you so much, guys. But yes, let's go ahead and get back to the main topic real quick before we answer the next ones. Again, today we're talking about you can manifest it today. So to start, we talked about what creates the waiting. Now let's talk about, these are things you want to start doing. Don't just do these once in a while, okay? The more you do the stuff I'm going to talk about in today's video, the better you're going to be at manifesting all kinds of stuff quickly. Habits are very helpful. These are things you want to turn into habits because once they become habits, they run on autopilot. And then you can start manifesting consciously on autopilot. So the first one is one I talk about from time to time, but it's one that I think a lot of people do as like a pot shot. Like they do it once in a while. This is something you want to do as much as you can and do more over time. Because if you do this and you start doing it more, you can actually turn your life into this process and it not just be a process. It can be how you run your life. And so the idea is something that I called Vortex days. And so I've talked about these before way back on my channel. I have some old school videos where I actually go through a couple of them and you can see how I do them. All right. But the idea of a Vortex day is the idea that throughout the course of the day, you're doing what you want to do when you want to do it, period. Okay, so if I wake up in the morning, what do I feel like doing? Go do that. When that's done, what do I feel like doing? Go do that. When that's done, what do I feel like doing? Go do that. The reason why this is a great instant manifestation technique is because if you can train yourself to run your life doing what you want to do, the message that you start to put out is, I'm having fun. I love my life. This is a good day. I am in control. And these are all messages that you put out to the universe. Now, the universe responds to your dominant vibration. So if your dominant vibration is saying day to day, I'm having fun. This is a good day. I do what I want. I am in control. Now, whenever you want something, it's going to match up. It will match up with you because it's going to match the idea that this is a good day. You are having fun. You are in control. So if there's something that you really, really want, that you would really, really love to have, it's going to match up with you when you're in that space of loving yourself. And that's what Vortex days do. So this is one of the biggest habits that people have that interferes with manifestation. Is the dominant way that they construct their day-to-day is that they run most of their day according to obligation, doing things that they don't want to be doing things at times that they don't want to be doing. Sometimes it's not even because the boss told you or, the bill came. It's because I said I was going to do that, Or I told myself this morning I was going to do that, so I have to do it. You want to get out of that habit. And instead, you want to be in the habit of doing what you want to do when you want to do it, because that will make you a match for lots of things coming in very, very quickly. Super important. Now, I got a coaching question recently about this, and so I want to clarify. So this is somewhat new information on a concept I've talked about before. So if you've heard this one before, let your ears perk up a little bit because this is important. Somebody wrote in with a question about, Andrea, I like to follow my joy, but sometimes my joy is something that's bad for me. So what am I supposed to do? It causes me to go drink, or it causes me to eat bad foods or do these self-sabotaging behaviors. Okay? So when I say follow your joy, I do not mean do something that feels self-sabotaging. Okay, I want to make a distinction here. When I tell you to do what is your joy, what I want you to ask yourself is, what would I feel good about doing right now? What would genuinely feel good to me to do right now? This is an important distinction. So many people are doing things that they don't want to be doing, that this follow your joy thing is actually kind of confusing, and they end up doing things that actually hurt them. Okay? So let me explain why. Again, there's no rules. So let's look at something like food. Okay? Most people would tell you that a cookie is a self-sabotaging choice. A cookie is bad. Okay? But a cookie feels good. It feels good, Andrea. So if it feels good for me to eat the cookie, is that what I'm supposed to be doing right now? The answer to that question is, it depends. It depends. Do you feel good about eating the cookie right now? Is the question. Okay? When you ask yourself this question, do I feel good about doing this right now? What you're really driving at is this a self-loving choice that I believe is beneficial for me right now? Now, a cookie can go either way. So again, like I mentioned earlier, I like to stay lean. I watch myself, watch my figure, and I'm careful about my food choices because I do recognize that my beliefs about foods do influence the impact that they have on me. But that being said, I do eat cookies. So cookies are not always bad. Cookies are not always bad. But I eat them when it feels good for me to eat them. So for instance, we were on a trip. We went to Savannah with my family for spring break. It was a fun trip. If you've never been, you should go. But we were in Savannah, and I eat generally pretty healthy, but we had been out and about, and for whatever reason, I hadn't eaten enough. And have you ever been in that place where you haven't eaten enough food and you suddenly start to feel kind of shaky, or you really need something right now? Okay. Well, I had that phenomenon, and we were standing right by a cookie shop. Now, in that moment, I wanted food now. In that moment, it felt good and right and just to eat that cookie now. So I walked right in there. I got a giant cookie. I downed the whole thing, and I felt good about it. Okay? That's an example of how a cookie could be the right choice at the right time. Maybe you're somebody who eats healthy most of the time. You eat lots of lean proteins and greens and that kind of stuff. All right? But you've been eating healthy for so long that if you eat one more piece of fish, you're going to want to put a fork in your eye. Okay? Well, if that's the case, then the cookie is actually the better choice for you, because you're not depriving yourself. You're giving yourself something that you want. You're letting yourself live a little bit. Okay, so sometimes the cookie is the right choice. So it's not a question of whether or not a food or an activity or something is good or bad. The question is it good for me right now? Okay, that's how we follow our joy. I hope that makes the distinction. That's an important thing to understand. Okay, let's grab some of these supers real quick. Vanessa, thank you for the super, Vanessa. Vanessa says, how can I achieve success faster on YouTube? Okay. The big thing with that is noticing the success that you have. And then the other thing I would say is that when you see a subscriber come, wow, that came quick. Okay. So let's say that, okay, maybe you don't have thousands coming in today, but you got one. I got one. So, wow, that person came in quick. She came in quick. He came in quick. Noticing the speed at which the ones that are showing up are showing up. That will ramp it up, because what's going on is what you're telling yourself right now is this is taking too much time. This is slow. That causes it to slow down. So we want to switch our focus to, wow, somebody was watching my video. Somebody subscribed. That was fast. That was fast. That was fast. That'll ramp it up quicker. Try that out. Woman taxi driver with another super. Thank you so much. She asks, I'm in sales and purchased $1,200 of new leads that I need to visit, but my car now needs $1,400 to, what does GWR stand for? Get back on the road? I'm abundant in other ways and keep it as my focus. Any other thoughts? If you have the 1,400 or you have access to it, you just get the car fixed and keep it moving. That's my dominant thing. And I don't know exactly what the background is with how much money is in the bank account, but a lot of times people will have the money to get the repair, but they think, oh, I'm going backwards. This isn't working. I need to worry about this. And then that causes money to slow more. If you guys get hit with expenses, just pay them. Pay them. Pay them, get in your car, go do the leads. Because the message that you'll put out is, I can take care of this. I have money for this. No big deal. And now, because I said no big deal, I'm paying for the car. As I'm going out to the leads, the message is, I'm abundant. Because look at me, just let go of 1,400. No big deal. The other thing I would look at is that it's an investment. It's an investment in your business. Okay, so instead of my car's broken down, I'm investing in my vehicle to make money. Because when you perceive your expenditures as investments rather than expenditures, you reap money out of the money that you put into it. Okay, good question. Thank you for the super AM 2021. Thank you. Thank you, Joey's Magic Tarot. Ooh, we got a tarot reader. Thank you, Joey. Appreciate you. And AM 2021 asks, how do I trust money will come without working? It always comes without working. That's the big thing. I think everybody thinks the work causes the money. No, the work doesn't cause the money. The work causes the belief that the money will come for most people. Because most people believe if I work enough, then I'll get the money. That's why the work actually does anything. But money does not come through work. If it did, you would not have trust fund babies. You wouldn't have lottery winners. You wouldn't have people finding money in different places. You wouldn't have investments just paying dividends. There are so many ways that money comes without work. So what I would recommend is that you sit there and think about that every day. How many ways does money come that does not require work? Because when you do that, you're going to recognize there's a ton of ways that money just shows up. And so the more that is your focus and the more that you understand that and appreciate that and dwell on that, the more that comes into your experience. The other thing is, how does money come into my life without working? So there's lots of ways that money comes into your life that you don't work for it. So like if you go to the grocery store and let's say that you want to go buy something and you think it's $5, but you get there and it's on sale for $2.50. Well, you were going to pay $5. The universe just gave you $2.50 for that without working. Most people don't think that's a big deal. Maybe it's not, but it's an example of money coming to you without working. So when that happens, say, oh, look at that. Money comes to me without working for it, and claim it as money for you. Because now your dominant message is money comes to me without working for it. And you won't have to work for it so much. Good question. Good question. All right, guys. Again, today we're talking about you can manifest it today. You don't have to wait. Waiting is a choice. It's a choice. It's always a choice. It's not required. Don't believe it's required. That's that's the big thing. I have to wait. No, you don't. You have to wait for anything. Real quick, in the top of the chat on YouTube, and also in the description on Facebook, and on the link tree in Instagram, I do have a link for a new program that I have coming up. So this one's not for all of you, okay? But some of you write in with questions having to do with sales and business. So I'm actually in the process of creating a course right now that is called Sales Magnet. So if you want to become the type of person who can attract money easily through their business or through their profession, this is going to be a great course for you. So I get lots of questions from people about, how do I go ahead and attract more clients? How do I get people to come into my business? How do I close? I have a hard time being confident when I make a sale. Lots of questions like this. I don't know if I'm going to hit my quota this month. I don't know how to guarantee that I'm making money. Well, this kind of ties back into the question that we just got in the chat. You don't have to work for sales. Okay, so there may be things that you do to make money. There may be things that you do to tee yourself up for sales. But the moment that the sale occurs is actually this magical moment where you simply align with it. And so this program is going to teach you how to align with sales, which is something that I have trained myself to do pretty well at this point. And so I want to teach you guys my little tricks and tips on how to align with customers and clients. So if you run your own business, or if you work a sales job or a commission-based job, maybe like a real estate agent, that program would be a good one for you to check out. Now, it's not ready yet. I'm working on it right now. My hope is that it will be ready late next month in September. But I have the sign-up sheet ready, so if you want to get updates when that course goes live and a 50% off coupon code for the first week that it's live, go ahead and sign up, put your email in there, and I will send you the product launch information as well as the discount code. Again, the link is in the link tree in my bio on Instagram, and it's also in the description of YouTube and Facebook. That's the business. Okay, so again, today we're talking about you can manifest it today. Remember, you create waiting. Waiting is not required. Waiting is a rule, either a rule that you put in place or it's happening because you have a block. Those are only two reasons it happens. It's not required. The way that we circumvent this, one of the ways is habituating vortex days. It may not seem like that's something that you can do all the time, doing what you want to do when you want to do it. But the more you do it, the more you're able to do it through the law of attraction. So that was a little trick I started doing when I could, maybe on the weekend, maybe a half day. But the more I did it, the more it became how I live my life. And so now I'm able to do what I want to do almost all the time. And so this is something that more you practice it, the easier it gets. And then once you're doing it all the time, success comes much more rapidly. Okay, let's talk about the next one. Okay, this goes back to the question I think Prufrock asked. And this is so important. I do talk about it from time to time on the chat and on the lives. You guys want to start doing this with everything. Radical acceptance of lack. Radical acceptance. Okay? So one of the quickest, if not the quickest ways to make something come to you quickly is to accept it not coming. Not just accept it not coming, but almost be happy for it not coming. I know that sounds foreign. I know that sounds confusing. I know that sounds like I'm asking you to be okay with it not coming and it's not going to come. No, this trick is about understanding that the problem is the resistance. And so we are going to do whatever we have to do to eliminate the resistance, meaning we're going to make it totally fine if the thing that we want doesn't come. When you make it okay that the thing that you want doesn't come, you stop holding up the resistance. And because you've dropped the resistance, now you're in a higher vibrational state where you're feeling better and you're more loving to yourself. So the thing that you would love to have can show up. So if it's your preference to have it, it will come. So let me give you guys a couple quick examples. These are things that happened this week, okay? So these things happen all the time. You're going to find yourself in a position frequently where you think something's not going to work out. And I want you to start practicing it in these moments so that you can get instant results, okay? So again, I got a lot of weight loss stuff today. I don't know why it's like all I'm talking about. Well, we'll talk about it. All right, so the other day, so I noticed, again, I pay attention to staying lean and I keep an eye on my body. And I woke up the other day and I was feeling bloated. You guys know that feeling, right? I was feeling like I was retaining water. All right, that's how I felt. Now, I like to step on the scale regularly, and it was a day to step on the scale. So before I stepped on the scale, I was sitting there thinking, well, I'm bloated today, so there's going to be water weight, so the scale is going to be higher. And I noticed that that was what I was thinking. I feel bloated, therefore the scale is going to be higher. Now, this is silly. Who cares? It's water weight. But I wanted to see a lower number, okay? That's what I wanted. I didn't want to see a higher number. I wanted to see a lower number. So I did this trick, the radical acceptance of lack. So the way that I did it in this moment was before I got on the scale, I sat there and made total peace with the water weight. I'm like, you know what? If the number is high, well, that's going to be my motivation to focus more and to sharpen the saw and to get better next time. If the number is high, well, when I go into the gym, I'm going to feel like I have more energy to give to my workout. So that's something I always tell myself. If the number is high, it means I've got more energy to give to my workout and I'll have a stronger workout. And I talked through it as if the extra weight was a positive. It's going to help me focus. You know what? I've been meaning to put on those stretchy pants anyway today. I can wear those. Like I made it okay. And as soon as I felt at peace, I stepped on the scale and the number was 2 pounds lighter. Now, ordinarily, if I stepped on the scale thinking I was bloated, the number would have been 2 pounds up. That kind of stuff happens to me all the time. Here's another one. This one happened yesterday. So I like to sit down and I write my little notes for our little chats here. And I like to do it usually the day in advance. But yesterday I wanted to go to the pool. So we've got a pool outside and I wanted to lay out by the pool. I came home and it was sunny and I got my bathing suit on and I went out to the pool and I sat down, I got everything ready, and then what happened? The clouds came through, okay? And they blocked my sun. If you live in Florida and this happens to you, let me know. It's like you get out there, you're ready to go, and then the clouds come over. You're like, darn it, I was gonna lay out in the sun. That was what I was gonna do. Well, I know that if I sit there and get mad about the clouds, they're just gonna stay. So instead, when that kind of stuff happens, I do this trick, radical acceptance of lack. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, if the clouds are out, how can I make this a good thing? I'm like, you know what? I still have to write my script for tomorrow. And now the clouds are over here, which means I can actually type this out on my phone and see the screen. Because if you play with your phone in the sun, it gets hot and you can't really do anything. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use these clouds to sit here and write tomorrow's script. That's what I'm going to do. And so the cloud cover in that moment became a positive, not a negative. And so I sat down, I started typing out the ideas for today's live. And as soon as I was totally engrossed in it, guess what happened? Clouds part, sun came back out, and it's like the clouds totally went away. It went from like dark and ominous, and they just kind of went away, and it was nice and beautiful. And within 5 minutes, I had my script and a lovely time out at the pool. That's how radical acceptance of lack works. It's very, very powerful. You want to use that one, again, habitually, all the time. Very important. I'll come over here to Instagram real quick. I haven't seen anything here yet. Mark, the mindset coach, says, I've been watching videos on the law of attraction for years and understand the principles. However, things are not different as far as reality goes. Is this because I'm not believing this fully? Not necessarily. You can intellectually understand what's going on. Okay? That's not the right. So there's times where I create things I don't like. I understand the principles. Okay? But what can happen is if you wander into a place where you have belief structures that are dominant and you start to feel negative, it becomes very seductive to kind of stay there. Okay? So if things haven't been changing, it means that the belief structures are not shifting. We're choosing to continue to believe in the old rules, even though we understand how it works. Okay? So the law of attraction is about, I ask, believe, receive. The believe part is what's really important. And so all the little tricks that I talk about here is, how do we, what's going on here on Facebook? Hold on. Hold phone, Facebook's giving me problems. Well, I see myself. Well, if you're on Facebook and you can't see me, I'm sorry. I can't tell if it's off or on. If you're on Facebook and you see me, let me know in the chat. Okay, but anyway, the belief part is really important, okay? So all the stuff that we talk about here, it's not just about throw it out there and it comes. It's about what do I have to do to get my mind pointed in a different direction. That's the big thing. And so I would say one of the biggest things for me that's been helpful in shifting my reality is just coming to the full understanding that pretty much every way that I used to operate was incorrect. Okay. You know, like if you've got a lot of stuff going on that you don't like, go ahead and assume that the way that you're thinking about things probably isn't working for you, because once you start to do that, it makes it easier for you to step into the new way of thinking. Okay. But yes, it's totally possible to understand the mechanism and still get stuck in the trap, because I still have beliefs that I'm stuck in that are giving me an output that I don't want. Good question. Emily Rain says, hi, Andrea. I'm in fear of actively manifesting because there have been times I have gotten what I want and had it taken away. Again, always a very painful experience. How do I get over that fear? Please. If they take it, you can manifest it again. It's not the end of the world. That's the problem. I'm afraid they're going to take it, so then I keep losing it because I'm afraid it's going to be taken. Start to look at if it gets taken, I get the joy of manifesting it again. So today I'm giving weight loss examples. Here we go with another one. All right. Let's say I lose 10 pounds. Yay. Okay. Got that manifestation. And then the universe takes that win away and I gain it right back. Okay. Oh, all right. Well, it's going to be just as much fun to lose it again. Have you guys ever had this experience where maybe you were a certain weight and then you lost the weight and you felt really skinny down there, and then you bounce back up and now you don't feel skinny, and then you lose just 1 or 2 pounds, but you feel skinnier with that 2-pound loss than you did down at the bottom? Understand that you get to have the joy again. The reason why I'm telling you this is that whenever you start to fear the loss, well, then I'll just manifest it again and I get to have fun manifesting it again. That's how we would radically accept that lack. Okay? Great question. Great question. And we got another super here. It's now in motion. Thank you for the super. Or in snow motion? Snow motion, excuse me. That took me a minute. All right, I have an awesome new job. I work a lot less and make a lot more money. How to avoid if I don't work my butt off, I'll lose it, or it's too good to be true. Oh, I got to take it easy to keep it. I got to enjoy it and have fun with it to keep it. You got the wrong idea there, right? Because we know this, right? If you're working too hard and you're stressed, you're actually going to misalign. You're going to create a harder job experience. It's critical that I stay in alignment. If I want to keep having a great situation here and keep making more money, I have to stay in alignment. I have to have fun. I have to relax. I have to enjoy. You get it? Tell yourself the right thing. Okay. So when you hear the wrong thing, okay, tell yourself the right thing 3 times. It'll get you back on track. Okay. And it's not too good to be true. It's the body. You're just scratching the surface. I'm just getting started. There's so much more. Just getting started. That's the other thing. You guys get stuff and you think, oh, this is the best thing ever. And what if I lose it? There's more. I'm just getting warmed up. Okay. And keeps you pointed up here rather than that way. Great question. Oh, I'm gonna grab this real quick. What about scheduled appointments? Here's the deal. Scheduled appointments. Chances are you probably want to go. However, if you really don't feel it, don't go. Let's say that you have an appointment to go to the dentist and get your teeth cleaned. Okay? That's what you have. But you are in the worst mood ever. You're feeling horrible. What is the point of going to the dentist? You're going to go in a bad mood and they're going to tell you you got cavities or there's no point in going. Literally, that's how you get this kind of bad news, is that you're walking into these appointments in a crummy mood. So if it were me and I was going to get my teeth cleaned and I was in a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad mood, I'm sorry, I can't come. Let's reschedule. And then I'm just going to make sure I'm in a good place when it's time to go next time. I don't care what it is. If you feel that bad, That's moving in opposition to the vortex day. Okay? It's just that important. I'm glad you asked that question. Thank you so much. All right. Again, today we're talking about manifest it. You can manifest it today. All right. So we talked about the vortex day. Follow your joy. Radical acceptance of lack. Ooh. Upward spiral. You can have an upward spiral at any time. This is another one of my favorite things to do to make sure that things start manifesting for me quickly. I recommend it highly. You can do it. It's easy. It may not seem easy. It may not seem easy, but it's so easy. Okay. So most of you guys are familiar with the downward spiral. Okay. It was bad and it got worse. When it rains, it pours. Okay. So I was having a bad day and then this happened. And I was having a bad day and then this happened. And Andrea, I used to manifest so good, but things have been getting worse, 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 worse. You guys all know this one, the downward spiral. Okay. Now, you never intentionally try to do the downward spiral. I know that's not what you guys want. Right? None of us want that. But it happens. The way the downward spiral occurs is that I start paying attention to things not working out, and then more things don't work out. And then I pay more attention to things not working out, and more things don't work out. That's how you create the downward spiral. It's usually done unconsciously. But you can create an upward spiral at any time. I don't care what's happening. I don't care if you're in the hospital. I don't care if you're sick. I don't care if you lost your job. I don't care if you got broken up with. I don't care what happened. At any time, you can create an upward spiral. And this is how you get things to manifest today. Okay? So the upward spiral is exactly the opposite to the downward spiral. With the downward spiral, we're noticing what we don't like, and we're creating more of what we don't like. And then we feel worse and we create worse. And then we feel worse and then we create worse until life is a dumpster fire. That's the way that goes. It's a simple process, really. Okay. The upward process is the same process, but in reverse. The way that you do this one is what's working today. What's going well today? What am I manifesting right now? Why is this a good day? What do I have? How are things improving? See, it's easy to do because both processes simply require you scanning your reality and observing and responding. The reason why people have the downward is because they're scanning for problems and creating problems, but you can create the exact opposite dynamic by focusing on what's working, what's going well, how things are working. Okay? Very, very simple process. So for this example, I'm going to talk about my husband, and hopefully he doesn't watch. He won't watch. If he does, he'll forgive me. It's fine. So he had a situation that happened earlier this year. So he works in sales. And so in his job, they have territories. So he has certain territories that are his sales territories, and they give him a quota. That's how it works. At the beginning of the year, they changed his territory. They changed it. They changed his commission. So basically, what he was very comfortable with was suddenly knocked all over the place. And he's essentially told, you got to go start over here. Okay. So in that moment, he was not happy. He came home very upset and he was noticing this isn't working. I don't like this. They took my territory. They're messing with my quota. Bad, 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 bad. What do you think happened to his earnings? They started going down, 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 down. He started having more problems. He started having more issues. He started making less money. That's what happened. Downward spiral. Simple. Now, fortunately, my husband's married to me. So when he decides to listen to what I'm talking about, he can usually turn around pretty quickly. And he got to a place where I think he was ready to let's upward spiral this. And so we had a conversation one day and we were talking about, what's working out. We got money in the bank. You've been doing this a long time. You've turned these things over before. You know how to do this better than anybody else. And he started noticing, well, this has been working and I got this doctor working and boom. He got a huge commission that came in out of nowhere. Boom. He got a huge bonus for getting the huge commission. Boom. He got a new doctor that came on. Upward, 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 upward. Because of a silly little conversation where he started to focus on this is working, this is working, this is working, this is working. It's that simple. A lot of times the reason why you guys are waiting for things to happen is because you're sitting there focused. It's not working. Why isn't it coming? Why doesn't he like me? Why aren't they giving me the promotion? It's not happening. It's not happening. And it's down, 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 down. You can flip it at any time. All right. So that's how you do the upward spiral. Now with the upward spiral, it's best to start with things that are small. Don't start with, oh, I know this is going to work out, because you don't believe that yet. But you could say something like, well, I've got money in the bank. Or you know what? I've always managed to land on my feet. You know what? I've got a home that I live in. I got food in the fridge. I'm breathing well today. I'm in good health today. I'm in pretty good spirits today. You can start to focus what is working. This is working. This is working. This is working. And your life will start to work better, work better, work better. And all this stuff that you've been waiting on is going to come in to confirm that life is getting better. Okay, so that's the other technique to make things manifest today. Simukai on Instagram. Hi, Andrea. I like to stay lean, and I've had to change my workout due to body sensations. How do I prevent the fear of thoughts about gaining weight if I'm not able to work out in the way I'm used to? Ooh, I like that question. I love working out, right? Sometimes things happen. So maybe you're sick or you're injured. Something happened. I can't work out this way anymore. Instead of it being a liability, let's look at it as an asset. Okay, so for me, if I were to get injured in the gym, now I can't do all this stuff I'm used to doing. If I focus on this isn't working, oh, I'm going to gain weight, I'm going to lose my gains, that's what happens, right? So instead, what I look at it as, oh, okay, this is a chance for me to learn some new ways to work out, or to learn some more stuff, some more different techniques. You know what? I've been meaning to do more cardio, or I've been meaning to do more strength. Now there's an opportunity for me to do this. There's an opportunity for me to do this. Notice that. Because with your workout, you've been probably doing, because we're creatures of habit, really. You've been probably doing a similar workout over and over and over and over and over again. This is your opportunity to learn a better way, or a more enhanced way, or a more improved way. And it really is true. Most of the gains that I've had, I would say, with my physique and working out, have come because I got sidelined. Because I learned a new technique, or I learned a new exercise, or I learned a better way of doing things. Hope that's helpful. Thank you, Louise, for the super. Louise says, thank you, Andrea, as always. And I just wanted to say that I'm very happy that everyone here is getting the tools to succeed. You are just fine-tuning every week. That's right. Yeah, you guys already have, like, we can talk on a higher level. I don't have to sit here and say, okay, this is how the law of attraction works. You guys understand. So fine-tuning is a great way of putting it. Thank you, Louise. Thank you so much. Oh, it's no sparkle. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm in StreamYard, and usually it shows me your handles, but for some reason it's showing me the ats. Sorry, guys. It's a little different today. JX Tesla 1111 says, hi, Andrea. Do I use specific affirmations when I have vortex days to manifest specific things, or focus on a specific manifestation? Okay, great question. I feel they are the best when you have the attitude that whatever I'm ready for shows up. Okay? If you're walking into a vortex day, this is a good question. If you're walking into a vortex, I'm going to do a vortex day so I get that check for $20,000, okay? If we have that kind of a motivation, a lot of times what will end up happening is that motivation may actually become a block. Because instead of simply surrendering and having fun and truly I'm just having fun to have fun, do what I want to do, it becomes conditional on something showing up. So you will actually have more success getting what you want if you leave it very open-ended. I'm just going to go do what I want to do today and have fun because I'm going to have the best day I can have, period. Now, if it's the best day you can have, period, would not the best day align with the thing you really want? Okay? So that's the thing, okay? A lot of times people think I have to focus on exactly what I want. No, actually you don't. If you're at the point now where you've been waiting for something for a long time, you have already focused so much on that thing. Okay? That the moment you truly drop resistance, it's going to show up. It has to. You don't need to overfocus. Okay? So do it from the place of I'm going to have the best day today I can possibly have. Period. Okay? Great question. Oh, I don't look bloated? Yeah, it happens. Happens less now, but it does happen. Thank you. No signal on Facebook? Okay. Well, you know what? Thank you for letting me know. We'll have to go through and reconnect them. We'll try them again later. Sorry, Facebook. Yeah, Mary, we'll figure it out. Oh yeah. Oh, last day of is it? Yay! Last day of Mercury retrograde. Y'all know I love my astrology. So, I mean, that's on brand. How long are you supposed to assume for until you detach? Should you go back and forth between the two on the same thing? Not precisely sure what you're asking, but I'll answer it the way I think I need to. Ask for what you want. As soon as it's not fun to think about it, go do something else. Go do something else. Go focus on something else. Do not focus on something and focus on something and focus on something, feeling bad about it, feeling wistful about it, waiting for it, because that's what creates that waiting experience. That's how easily things can come. You thought about it, you forgot about it, it showed up. You thought about it, you forgot about it, it showed up. People don't understand the power of forgetting. You need to literally just go move on with your life. Go do something that's more fun. Okay? It's not, that's the thing. Everyone thinks it's so much work. It's not work. Okay? Ask, believe, receive. The forgetting is the believing part. Okay? If you believe it can happen, you can let it go and move on. If you don't believe it can happen, oh, I got to work on this more. I got to work on this more. So the focusing is actually what's causing the resistance at that point. Hope that's clear. Great question. AM 2021, thank you for the super. Another super. Thanks, Andrea. I just want to add, I manifested my ideal and perfect match when I gave up manifesting an SP after trying so hard. You wonder how that happened? That's why it happened. That's exactly why it happened. That's precisely why it happened. That's how most people meet their future spouse, by the way. That's how I met mine. Stop trying. You think about it, forget it, then it comes. Giving up is another thing too, because when you give up, what you're saying in essence is, I'm gonna have a good life anyway. Next. And then you got something to align with the good life anyway next. Okay? There's power in forgetting. Big power. Over-focusing is one of the big resistance. So when I talked about in the beginning that resistance is one of the things that causes waiting, over-focusing is a form of resistance. And when you stop doing that and you give up, then what you really want can show up. Very good. And congratulations on your perfect match. All right, guys, another quick reminder here. Again, not for all of you. Not all of you guys are in sales jobs, all right? But I get enough questions from people that are in sales professions about how to manifest clients. And so I decided it was time to make a course directly on this one. And so this one's going to be called Sales Magnet. Sales Magnet is for anyone who's feeling stressed out about selling. So if you feel maybe afraid to approach a customer, or you feel kind of guilty about the sales process, or you just don't feel confident in your ability to close, this program is going to show you how to apply the law of attraction to allowing sales to come in. Because the point where a person actually closes on your product is not the point where you are actually sitting there trying to close them. It's in the moment where you actually attract them. And so we're going to talk about what do you have to do to actually attract clients, customers, and sales into your business or into your commission-based job. If you're interested in that program, it's not ready yet, okay? I think it will be ready by the end of September. That's my hope. But you can go ahead and sign up now for information on that product launch, along with a 50% off coupon code when it goes live. Again, go ahead and sign up at the link. The link is in the link tree in my bio on Instagram. It is in the description on YouTube and Facebook. And when you put in your email, we'll send you that code when it goes live. So check that out. Also, again, if you are new to my work and you have not yet, make sure to go ahead and take that manifesting test. Okay, so it's a quick and free 5-minute test where you can prove to yourself that you really are the creator of your reality. So you're the one in control. You're the one doing all of this, all right? So this test will show you how to put something out and watch it come back. And you can take that test at manifestingtest.com. Also, if you have not yet, make sure to go ahead and subscribe, like the video, check all the links in the description. I've got lots of courses that you can look at as well. But in addition to that, I do plan on being back next Sunday. So if you guys want to come along and see me next Sunday, I'll be same place, same time. Oh, and I see I've got one more super here. Okay, nobody else send me a super, okay? I don't want to take your money and not answer your question, but I will answer this one real quick. Britt asks, oh, you just said something nice. Okay, Britt, thank you so much for saying. You manifested 6 new clients and made $1,000 this week because of the law of attraction. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Well, I'm so happy for you, Britt. Congratulations. See, perfect example. You can manifest clients. All right, good job. Thank you so much for the super. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's topic. Thank you so much for coming along. Thanks so much for the supers. I do appreciate you guys and all the great questions. And of course, I look forward to seeing you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.